it's quartering day. So when I was inspecting the Pacific here, I found the reason why I couldn't get it into quartering, or get it into quarter. Take a look at that. Let's zoom in on it. Okay, so that is why it didn't run right. So now we got to find a way to fix this. And I don't think super glue is going to cut it. I would like to use an epoxy, which would probably work. It could lead to a very long cure time. If this fit nicely, I think goop would be the way to go. Because goop, when it's put in there right, it's got a lot of strength and flexibility. And if I make a mistake, I can start over. Oh, not even looking. Okay, let's go back. Okay, goop. This here is why. All right, so like I said, epoxy would be great, but there's no do-overs on that. So I think I want to try goop first and see if I can get, because we need to get a tiny part. We need to get this in there, and then quartering should work pretty good. We should be able to do that without any problem. But that's where we got to solve that first. Here's the fix. It is not pretty. It's not pretty, but we let this cure. We let this guy cure, and I think we can clean it up. The whole thing basically broke apart, and it doesn't look, it doesn't look great, but I think this goop is going to cure nice and hard, and as long as I can get to the threads, it'll be a nice solid. When you put the screw in there, that screw will it'll act like a little bit of Loctite. It'll still be removable, but this guy's going to be, we're going to have to keep on him. Now I got to cure him. We're not even going to attempt to screw until I get him cured, and then we'll attempt to clean up. Okay, the fix worked. The goop did what it was supposed to do, and so now let's talk about the quartering part. The normal position of all of these wheels, both sides, is that they're quartered. And I did check, they're all engaged. When they are quartered, you'll be able to roll it freely like that. Okay? Most of the time, when you are going to quarter, you install this. Getting this part, all this linkage set in place, that can be pretty tricky. These hangers on the Rivarossi's, remember, you lift them up, you bring them across the backside and into place. They go on top, and then the little tab goes underneath this plate, and there's one little screw. The only screw that does that is that one right there. Okay, so now we got it set down right. Most of your quartering is going to work like this. You're going to get them in there, and you're just going to turn an axle till they start to line up. If you have a loose wheel, this is where it gets complicated then. When you have a loose wheel, let's put this at 90 on this side. So here's the counterweight. It's over here. When you turn it around, that counterweight is going to be offset. So that one's facing one way, this one is up. Okay, it's a quarter turn. One of the most effective ways I found to set up an axle itself where a loose wheel happened was to take a piece of wire that fits between the spoke underneath one of the counterweights and all the way through to its other to what is supposed to be on the other side and adjust the wheel that way. That's the most effective way that I found to set up an axle. And then you put them back in. And when you put them back in, if you connect it and it's right, they'll line up just right. And then you'll get a nice smooth movement. But I'll tell you what, quartering can be extremely frustrating, as some of you already know. So you're looking for the normal position. If you get the normal position on one side and the drivers look right, and look for a photo of it so you can see, then the other side is supposed to automatically be in position. It's supposed to be in position automatically. And if it's not, then you got to go and check to see, are the axles themselves quartered? And then you twist them, you know, in the usual way, like you're going to put them in gauge. Make sure, before you put this back together, you check with the gauge to see all that the wheels are. These are all good to go. Next up on, this is the Pacific. Next we're going to do the Mikado. And we'll see how that goes. And I'll show you how we're going to bring the drivers into position.